Live. Okay, perfect. What's good with everybody? How's everybody feeling? Jalen is the host for this session of From the Logo. Jalen, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good. Great day outside. Sunny day. Love to see it. Definitely a time to be outside. Probably gonna do that after this. But hey, great playoff action, great basketball stuff going down. Some series concluded. Summer still going on. Some narratives have been changed. Chad, it's been this playoffs has been special. WNBA kicked off. We can talk a little bit about that. But I think we got to start off with, the big one, the Cleveland Cavaliers out of here, packed up
Out of the playoffs.
Boston Celtics. Some of the things they couldn't really control, Mitchell situation, Jared Allen, tough break. They play with a lot of heart. Gotta give these guys credit for playing with a lot of heart, not backing down, still making it a game with a lot of these injuries. What do you have to say about that, Gifted?
Woo! Yeah, man, the Cavs are out. I guess we just been waiting for it, to be quite honest. I mean, this Cavs team didn't really have the firepower to really compete with Boston, even when healthy. But no Jared Allen is one thing. Not having any Donovan Mitchell makes it a whole other thing. And they were just outmatched. I mean, from start to finish. The thing with Boston is they're going to always give you one game to keep things interesting. But through the Eastern Conference, they just continue to be the powerhouse and the clear NBA Finals favorite in terms of going to the NBA Finals through the East. So that just continued on. I think the tidbits of what's going to happen to the Cavs construction in the future is very, very interesting, though.
Yeah, I mean, in the NBA, rumor sphere, there's been word that Mitchell was not happy with the seriousness or lack of seriousness of some of his teammates within the playoffs. Saw a report about that. And also saw that some of in the Cavs organization, I'm not sure if it was, front office people, coaching staff, or players were unhappy that Jared Allen was not willing to take a shot to kind of numb the pain and play through it.
Mm-hmm.
So, a couple of things coming out of the locker room. What do you think about that?
I thought that was interesting that he didn't want to take the shot. Jared Allen continues to be a confusing NBA player because his first year, he said the lights were too bright. I thought he was a pretty good postseason performer. Honestly, overall, I think he was probably their second best player, and even Mobley was playing very well too. So to see him not take the shot is kind of interesting. Maybe he just didn't want to go through the pain. I don't think he needed to take the shot, but most people, if they're in a great situation and team that they like, wouldn't hesitate to take the shot if they're trying to win. Maybe he just gave up on them actually beating Boston, or maybe he doesn't like it in Cleveland. I mean, in that same article, it talked about
it's Cleveland. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think a lot of people like Cleveland or want to live there, frankly.
I mean, like as a city, sure, but I'm saying like as a team, there might be something there. Because even in the same article, it talked about how the front office doesn't like the too big pairing, and their backcourt is also in question. So there's going to be some serious roster construction changes for this Cleveland Cavalier team soon, honestly.
100%. Yeah, it definitely seems like a offseason of change. Obviously, the LeBron rumor, him coming for a game, you know how that goes. They got to make something up with LeBron. Don't know how serious I'm taking about how I'm going to take that. People assuming he might return, but definitely a big change. I don't think Mitchell's coming back. I think Mitchell's definitely out of here.
Really?
Yeah, I think Mitchell's for sure out of here, especially with that report coming out. It's one of those things like, all right. And he just has so many suitors, in one better.
So many teams are,
in better winning situations and just bigger, better kind of, team atmosphere, you could say. I think, playing with the Knicks next to a Jalen Brunson. If he wants to go to the Lakers, that'd be cool. If he wants to go to Philadelphia, whatever, there's so many options for him that he'll really have his pick. When you have all those picks, are you really going to pick Cleveland? Probably not, but we'll see. Will be interesting. Moving on to, what do you think about the Boston side of this? How do you think they look kind of playing an injured Cavs team?
Yeah.
So close. Boston, to me, has shown a lot of flaws and have been incredibly lucky the first two rounds, going up against kind of real, injured teams. The Miami Heat team with no Jimmy Butler and the Cleveland team missing Jared Allen and Mitchell for 3 games.
I think for this Boston team, what you're seeing is the brilliance of their roster. Like, even though they still have flaws, they're durable enough to squeak by these two teams that are also hurt. And they just have such a front-loaded core, even without Porzingis, that is still very qualified to win these games. I do feel, though, if you're playing against better competition and you're Boston, with no Porzingis, things get very, very dicey because even Al Horford is not the same Al Horford that we once saw. Cleveland was putting him in many different actions, and his shooting was still kind of spotty. So it's like not having that, they're definitely showing why in the future they're going to need Porzingis. They might not need him to advance in the conference finals, but even if they play a team who slows the game down, like the Knicks, who are also hurt, at least that they have the size to rebound more and do different types of things. But let's say they somehow make it out of that, which they probably will. Going up against Denver or Minnesota, even the Mavs, like the size in the front court is going to be the question. And if there's no Porzingis, things get a lot more questionable. But I think this team is loaded. I think for most of the playoffs, Jason Tatum has been allowed to be on cruise control. He hasn't had to have great games every single night to have such success. But it is a real question mark in terms of what is this team really once they reach the finals and play whoever comes out of the blood battle that is the Western Conference.
Yeah, it definitely seems like they're going to have a relatively easy path to the finals. And then the real kind of, I think, first choose test will be the finals, which is a tough spot to kind of have your first real test. Probably not face a lot of adversity. We'll see how the next round goes, but I kind of expect them to win it pretty easily. Again, you mentioned the Porzingis thing. Look, without Porzingis, there's no way they're beating Denver.
I can't see it.
Yeah, Denver, Dallas would be tough for them. It'd just be a tough situation. So hopefully for them, Porzingis can come back ASAP. But speaking of that big man, we got to talk about the other one that showed up. They said it was not going to happen. And tonight, they're probably going to close the deal and send Minnesota packing. What do you have to say about the Jokic masterclass? They said he couldn't play in the 90s. They said he couldn't handle physicality. They said he was rated. They said he didn't deserve those MVPs. They were talking real spicy when they were down 0-2, and now 3 straight wins against a phenomenal defense. Talk to me, Gifted.
I think it's really wild about the narratives and how quick they change in this series because they went down 2-0. People started to question how good of a player Jokic really was. And it's like, okay, even if he's underperforming in this overall series, Jokic is still a player that had MVP caliber seasons. I'm not going to let one postseason run where you were very good for the first round, you might not have performed to your standards in the second round, change how I view Jokic as a player. Jokic is one of the best offensive players I've ever seen in my lifetime. A lot of times he makes the correct decision with the basketball, and he has a very high floor in terms of how he performs every single postseason. They go down 2-0, Jalen, and they're acting like he wasn't really good. I literally saw Lakers fans saying, if we had Dwight Howard, then I don't know. Like, no, this is a different Nikola Jokic that we've seen through and through and through. This is a guy that, quite frankly, should probably have 4 MVPs, and I will be straight back-to-back seasons. Right? So for people to try to act like he wasn't this great player, and also for people to act like Denver had not come back and had never been punched in the mouth. We saw this same team in the bubble literally come back down 3-1 twice. 2 back-to-back series twice in the first round and the second round, especially against a Clippers team that a lot of people had going to the finals as their finals favorites. They came back from 3-1 and they beat that team. So this is a team that has roster fluidity. They're used to playing together for multiple years. They have chemistry, and they've also faced adversity. Now, during the championship run, I still believe that the competition that they had to play was not up to their standard, and they weren't really tested. This Wolves team was a different team to really test them. I know that a lot of people probably think that this series is over, but I would advise people to look at what we've seen so far. In the first 2 games, the biggest thing for me, Jamal Murray was getting completely clamped. He was not moving the same way. The threes for this Wolves team were falling at a pretty high level. You saw a lot of things shifting at a high rate for them, right? But in these last 3 games, the Nuggets and Jalen are shooting 50% from the field, high 40% from 3. They literally shot 10 for 19 from the 3-point line. I just don't understand how they go from that to where they started. So that shows you just how good of a team this Denver team is and how much of a challenge it's going to be for the Wolves, because now they have a must-win game at the Target Center, which is a critical moment for them to have more success. I'm interested in how that really shapes itself out, Jalen.
100%, I agree with that. Shout out my guy, my fellow Luka Stan, Riddell making an appearance. Riddell in the building. We're just talking about the Minnesota-Denver series. What do you think about Denver coming back from 3-0? The expectation of Minnesota now too are we considering it a choke job? Do we think, especially if they get sent home tonight, or is it just kind of the greatness of Jokic and the Denver Nuggets?
Being down 2-0 and coming back is obviously very impressive. I mean, I thought it was pretty nasty. The people who are so ready for the Nuggets to get out of here, like the Timberwolves about to sweep the Nuggets, Nikola Jokic kind of fraudulent last year run. And I'm not like the biggest Jokic fan by any means, but I like Jokic's game. I appreciate game. Jokic's game is amazing by all means, of course. I do think people need to, step back. I don't think there's a gap between Jokic and Luka. That's what I will say. But I think Jokic is amazing, and the Nuggets and Mike Malone are great too. The first 2 games, the first game is like, okay, game 1, they're being very physical. They had that dog in them. It's always hard to take away from a game 1 because a lot of these game 1s that took place recently didn't really tell you what the series will be about. I mean, we saw about that with the Mavs with the Clippers. We saw that with the Mavs and the Thunder. It doesn't really show you what's going to be about. It really is just like, okay, who's more ready? Who got that dog in them from the start? Game 2, you kind of get the sense at that point. I guess it was a little weird for the Nuggets because Rudy Gobert wasn't there. And sometimes this is the NBA, and they have a game plan, and sometimes your game plan can get thrown awry if like a key contributor to the other person's team is not there. So it's hard to say, is it because they played better without Gobert, or is it because they weren't ready to play them without Gobert? It's really hard to say. So they game plan, they looked up things, and then game 3, game 4, game 5, they started eating them alive. It started becoming very nasty. I was, since the first series between the Timberwolves and the Suns, I wasn't high on the Timberwolves offense. Yeah, Anthony Edwards is great, but ultimately I wasn't like, oh yeah, this offense is going to be good enough to consistently beat down its opponents, especially when you go into round 2.
He just mute himself. You're too gifted.
I am muted, actually. That's kind of funny. Yeah, I think he did by accident there.
There it
is. But he was making a point about, I believe, the first round.
I think we'll be back. I mean,
can you hear me?
Yeah, you back.
Yeah. Ultimately, to wrap up my point, because I accidentally unplugged my mic, is I'm not surprised. Jokic is great at adapting to his opponents. Aaron Gordon had to step up, which he has been.
Big games.
So that was arguably the most important part. Jamal Murray hasn't been like in form. To be fair, when you rely upon tough shots like Jamal Murray does, sometimes they're just not going to fall. And the Timberwolves has a great defense. They can put really big and tall defenders on them. So it's going to be even harder to make tough shots. But I expect Jokic to cook. I expect someone to step up. Someone did. They adapted well, and I'm not surprised by any means. I think people were getting a little too high on Timberwolves and starting to crown Anthony Edwards. I thought that was a problem. So shout out the Nuggets, man. They're that good for sure.
Yeah, I'm not going to basically flinch away from what I thought. I thought the Wolves were going to win this, and a lot of it had to do with how compromised Jamal Murray looked in the first round. I thought the Cavs stuff would sustain, and after those first 2 games, Jamal Murray was not moving on the basketball floor like Jamal Murray. Since game 2, though, he's been moving like I expect him to move, and more than anything, they were able to nullify the adjustments Minnesota made by taking Aaron Gordon out of the series by involving him in more on-ball sets and getting him going. I really feel like in game 3 and 4, the impact felt by Gordon was a big part of why they were able to get back in the game. And for the majority of the playoffs, the Nuggets have had pretty good shot quality overall. Those shots just really started to fall at a high level in these last 3 games. Will that continue on the road for game 6? It could. But just like how Ant had a very good game and they lost, I think the biggest X factor for tonight's game is going to be Minnesota getting enough threes up, playing Naz Reid more minutes. They're going to have Mike Conley back for this game as well, getting those shots up so the defense feels pressure so they don't have to triple team Ant. Also, getting Gobert the clean, quick looks where he catches it, he goes up to where he doesn't have to post up and create his own offense because he's really, really bad at that, right? I think those are the X factors to swinging this to at least force a game 7. That's what I'm looking at least.
I like that. I do think, though, what's also interesting, though, is some of the flaws of Anthony Edwards have been exposed a little. People are real excited, and I get it. Phenomenal, exciting player. But his, I think, inability to kind of capitalize on some of his wide open teammates when they do see the double against him, I think it's problematic. He's not that great of a passer from the double team. I think that's something he definitely needs to work on. In terms of when they take away his shot, he's not that great of a facilitator, especially last game with no Mike Conley. And I understand he hasn't been asked to do this all season, but I think great players make the adjustment, and them needing him to be more of a passer, playmaker in that game, he just couldn't adapt and get it done. So I think those are just some things, again, young player, something that he can work on and definitely improve on for sure.
I will be curious to see if Anthony Edwards can become at the very least, good playmaker. I personally value playmaking a lot. I think your offensive game goes to another level when you can make plays, not only for yourself, but for your teammates and put them in advantageous positions. And I don't think Anthony Edwards is there yet. When they were talking about the Thunder and Mavs on the first series, I was like, I do think Shea's cool, but I do think they need a legit playmaker. And the last game for the Timberwolves, missing Mike Conley was huge. Like, they needed someone to set everybody up properly and allow them to put in their spots. And we're seeing in this playoffs how crucial it is of having someone who can set people up. Like in the Sun series, I think we saw that like on full display. The Timberwolves without Mike Conley. Even the Thunder, yeah, they blew the Pelicans, but they were outmatched. It was just a talent gap. But against the Mavs, I feel like we are seeing it, even though the Thunder are competitive, that they don't have someone to set people up for their most opportune moments for them to get their shots off. So I think the playoffs is really highlighting the need for a playmaker, not necessarily a point guard, but someone to set plays up for the rest of the team. So that'll be huge for teams moving forward. And luckily for the Nuggets, their playmakers are center. So, they don't really have to worry about much. Nikola Jokic is that guy.
100%. Jokic is definitely him. Jokic is definitely him. Moving on, Jokic is the great, but another great, we're going to talk about the boy wonder, the fresh faded one knee, even though knee looked better. Luka Doncic showed up, took the series by the horn, did his thing. Talk to me about Luka, Gifted. What did you see out of Luka Doncic last game?
It was weird, man. I feel like this has been a very underwhelming playoffs for Luka as a whole. This is easily his worst playoffs of his career, and I feel like a lot of it is tied to his knee. I think he can't get to the same spots that he normally does, so he is overall settling for a lot of shots that aren't great. He's more prone to try to take these long pull-up threes, but he doesn't have the legs for it. I feel like last night's game, his decision-making and Christmas was really returning. This is more so the MVP Luka that we saw during the regular season, right? Like, that was the level of play that you saw last night. I do think it's kind of unfortunate because it's like OKC, I don't think had a bad game plan. They made changes. They played Josh Giddey less. He was replaced by Isaiah Joe in the starting lineup. But when Luka's playing like that, the Mavs are really at their best. Kyrie didn't even have to have a crazy game either. He just had to be a solid enough processor. And I gotta say this, man, like for the whole series, Kyrie's processing from game to game has been much improved from the Kyrie I saw last time he was in the postseason. My question with Luka is, people are going to run with it and say, oh, look, he played like this, he's back. And to me, that's not how it works. I think he's still very much injured. I don't know how many more games of this that Luka has in himself. And more importantly, if OKC's shot quality continues to be what it is, if Chet doesn't go 1 for 5 from 3, how much does that impact the series? Because at this point, they're trying to win one more game. OKC has to win 2 more games, but it's very feasible that this becomes a 7-game series where you need at least one more of those Luka-type games or a 40-pointer from Kyrie to really get the job done. PJ Watson also, his shooting from game to game, like, he's playing well above his means as a shooter, and I question the longevity of that, not just for this 3-game series here, but also for the rest of the postseason run as well. So good performance. I think that was probably his strongest game of the playoffs thus far. Let's see if he can maintain that for the next game, which I believe is maybe tomorrow.
For the Mavs game. Yeah, it should be tomorrow. Today, today, Jokic going to wrap up his situation. Tomorrow, Luka going to wrap up his situation. Now going to my guy, Riddell. What do you have to say about your main man, Luka Doncic?
Man, I've been telling the Luka truth since the beginning. Before the season started, I've been talking to people about the Mavs, but, there was obvious things around the Mavs that was problematic. Dwight Powell getting minutes was problematic. So the fact that they were got some big men in Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington was huge. I was so happy. Huge. I'm like, no more Dwight Powell minutes. Thank you. No more Dwight Powell minutes because he is bad. I'm sorry. So, hey, shout out you, team player. You're bad. You're just not good. But with that said, let's talk about the playoffs. The Mavs and the Luka, I agree with Gifted that he's still injured. He did have a really good game of, I believe it was 5 against the Clippers.
Yeah, game 5 too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a really good game from him too, but he still wasn't shooting well in that game. But obviously he was being aggressive. They was pushing the ball similar to what he just did, pushing the ball up court, playing very fast pace for Luka's standards, and getting into the defense too, being physical, getting to his spots inside the 3-point line. I do think people get it. I don't know why people are trying to make up, and it's not everybody, but people trying to make up the narrative that, oh, he's just pretending. Sometimes I don't know if y'all are trolling or not, because in game 3, I believe, when he got injured, the shooting splits went to the toilet. Like, it was so obvious. Not only was he hobbling, but his shooting was bad. And it's not just, because of Luka's game and how slow it is and methodical it is. It kind of looks the same. But the thing is, the slight bump in your shooting form can affect your shot dramatically. And if you can't get enough power in your legs, your knee being part of it, then your shot won't be as consistent. And that is the big thing with Luka. His jump shots aren't consistent. And even when he's trying to attack, even though he's not the quickest guy, Luka can have a quick first step. He can go, and then explode. He hasn't been doing that because he just can't right now. So there are obvious things, if you've been watching Luka all year, that he hasn't not been doing or hasn't been doing as well since he's gotten injured. And even his defense, which overall in the regular season actually has been pretty good, has been worse because of the knee injury, because he can't even move his legs, which were already slow. He's a slow-footed defender. His legs are moving even slower. So Luka's entire game has been slowed down for a slow player. So that's been tough on him, of course. But he does push through it sometimes. And the last game was an example. He pushed through it, was playing as the healthiest he has been playing. Hopefully he can stay consistent. I don't know if he will. I'm similar to Gifted. I don't know if he will. But when Luka is healthy, that just opens up the offense even more. But shout out the role players who has been locking in and playing.
DJJ, man.
Derrick Jones Jr., I think we need to talk about him being one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA right now. what he's been doing all playoffs has been nothing but fantastic. PG-13, I'm sorry, you're my guy. He got you clamped. He was getting you clamped. He was making it super tough. And J-Dub, damn.
J-Dub struggling.
Chamber, bro. They talking the torture chamber. Nah, this is the DJJ chamber, man. He's putting people in the chamber. And it's his athleticism, and he moves his feet really well. He stays in front of people extremely well. And if you get past him, he's so athletic. He can come from behind and block your shot. So shout out DJJ. Shout out PJ Washington, who's being aggressive as a scorer, putting the ball down on the floor, attacking with that little floater in the paint, making his corner threes. And Tim Hardaway Jr., at least think past like half your shots. Like think past first.
He got to go. I was never high on him during this whole regular season.
He hit a couple big threes. Man. He hit a couple big threes. The game before this one. Like
to be fair, he did. He was wide open. I hope you make that 3-pointer, but Jesus, Tim Hardaway Jr. is tough to watch sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
I hear that. What about you, Hayes? What do you think about this Mavs situation and OKC? And how do you feel about Luka Doncic clearly separating himself from Anthony Edwards and SGA?
I mean, he should. He's been here before. Like, let's be clear here. Like, that this is their really, especially Anthony Edwards' first time. Luka should be separating himself from those guys. And let's not. Hey, that it always goes like the criticism of one player publicly is like there's valid criticisms, but then it goes to a place where it's like, oh, he's not as good as what we think. Luka Doncic is every bit as good as what he's been cracked up. He has flaws in this game as everyone, but we got to stop. I hate to see people try to completely shit on Luka. Like, come on now, what are we doing here? But as far as the situation between the Dallas Mavericks and the OKC Thunder, I think it's to what Raydell said. It's the role players are separating the Mavericks right now in the series by far. You look at what PJ Washington's been able to do. Derrick Jones Jr., former Chicago Bull, by the way, who unfortunately when we played him as a center. He's showing you what he can do when he plays his normal position, right? He is such a good role player in the sense that he's just always active. He always finds a way to contribute, whether it's defensively, whether it's hitting big shots, whether it's blocks, whether it's whatever it is, the dunks to get the crowd energized. Like, the role players of the Dallas Mavericks right now are stepping up in a way that we hoped that they were going to step up consistently once that team made those trades to bring in the players that they did at the trade deadline. And so, like I've said before, a combination of being able to have one of Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford out there at all times, one of those guys out there, is a luxury that a lot of teams just don't have, and having that consistent, almost same level of play from those guys and what they're able to do, it's dope. I love seeing the way that they've been performing, man.
I hear you. That's definitely true. Appreciate you, Riddell, coming up. We're gonna move up. Hey, I'm gonna see you on Playback. That next Luka game better be there on Playback. All right, we're gonna see. We're gonna see
game 6, a big one.
100%. Shout out Riddell. I want to say one of the other games we got to really get to. The Knicks Indiana series. Jalen Brunson showed out, big moment, big time. That's a separator between superstars and stars. You show up in the games. It's not. You show up in the games. A lot of stars want to take that jump, but they don't be giving you 44 points like that, 40 plus points in a game 5. Take the series lead. You're telling me Jalen Brunson isn't a superstar?
I'm gonna sound like a hater, bro. But I don't care, bro.
Jalen Brunson is not a superstar.
I'm gonna be so real with you, bro. If you think I'm gonna say Jalen Brunson is a superstar because he's torching the Pacers defense, then go ahead and have that take. That shit not really moving me. He's been great. He's been great.
Totality of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Superstar for me, though, much like Jalen, like I only look at it as like
body of work.
4 superstars in the league. So he's playing at a star level right now. And like he was playing that at the end of the season as well. Like he would have to have several more seasons doing that before I could say he's a superstar. But that's not to shit on him. The dude is fucking amazing. Like, let's be clear.
Were we calling Jimmy Butler a superstar last playoffs? Everyone has different interpretation of superstar, which is fine as long as we're consistent.
I've never referred to Jimmy Butler as a superstar.
Okay,
star maybe at times, but never a superstar.
I just think last season the way people were talking about Jimmy Butler, like he was him superstar, and there's not a big difference between the way Jimmy Butler played and Jalen Brunson been hooping this playoffs. The numbers Jalen Brunson putting up, if you look at these playoff numbers, bring them up. I've been absurd.
No, there's a big difference. There is still a big difference when you have Jimmy in that mode compared to Jalen Brunson, because he was doing it not only on both ends, but his decision making, all that was more crisp, and he did it versus a Bucks team, which is way more comp to me than this Pacers team right now, and even the team that the Knicks had to play in the first round, who was an injured Sixers team. Like, I give Brunson a lot of credit because he's been good before this, but again, for me, a superstar is a guy that does it for multiple amount of seasons, and you're playing at a first team all NBA level all the way through it. And me personally, I just haven't seen this team really tested by a complete team on both ends.
Yeah,
that Sixers
with no Bojan, no OG Anunoby, like the injuries, those are big
OG
injuries.
What? How'd you pronounce his name?
I say Anunoby. I always say OG Anunoby. Even in the Raptors, it's OG Anunoby for life, baby. But yeah, to me, that injury, no Bojan, he's been kind of the sole creator of everything they do offensively. I haven't seen an offense that's dropped off as much in the playoffs as much as the Knicks offense drops off when Jalen Brunson isn't on the court.
I'm not saying that's not the case, but I'm saying Jalen Brunson versus a defense that to me is like top 10. Like, even in the Philly series, they showed you if you can put competent size on Brunson, he can have moments where he struggles. And the funny part about the Philadelphia series is with the injured Joel Embiid, it still went, 5 games, maybe 6 games? I forget how many games it went. I believe it was 5 games, was it not? Or was it 6? 4. No, actually, it was 6 because they won a game, and then I believe Tyrese Maxey had like a miracle game or whatnot. Then they closed them out in 6, I believe. I think so. But the bigger point is, without a healthy Joel Embiid, who is a top 5 player during the regular season at the very least, right? Yeah. They were able to squeeze that out. Sure, that was great for them. But I'm saying in terms of playing a competent defensive unit like the Celtics, like one of those contender type teams, because to me, I said this, they shouldn't have brought back Joel Embiid because to me, that Sixers team was not a contender and he's injured. Let him heal up and be good all the way for the offseason into the next season. And this Pacers team, even though I had them beating the Bucks, clearly while they were playing a injured Bucks team, they showed a lot of chinks in their own armor as a young team that plays literally no defense. That's one of the shittiest defenses I've seen in the playoffs in a long time, Hayes. A very long time.
I mean, they've been terrible defensively. Let's be clear. They are absolute dog water defensively. But you know, it's the thing that we said at the start of the season. This series was how competitive it was gonna be is if Tyrese Halliburton woke the fuck up. Like, you talk about the first 2-3 games of this series averaging 16 points, like it was never gonna be enough. So but this Knicks team is just different, man. Like, you can say what you will about the Knicks team, and I know it's this series may even go 7 games, but this Knicks team with Jalen Brunson playing at the level that he's playing at right now, it's hard to bet against Jalen Brunson because he's just playing at an amazing level right now. And if I had to come down to, am I betting on Tyrese Halliburton or I'm betting on Jalen Brunson to lead their team to a series winning this, it's going to be Jalen Brunson, period.
Yeah, and guys, I don't want y'all to do this thing where because I don't think he's a superstar, I'm hating. That's not what it is. Jalen Brunson is a very, very, very,
people
very,
throw
very
around that hate that word hate too easily.
Put on way too much.
They'd be like, yeah, you know what? I'd like to see him get to a rim a little bit more. Oh, why you hating on him, bro? What like, y'all got to be smarter than that. Like, you got to have better critical thinking than that. Like,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Let's be real. I mean, it goes into Jordan LeBron thing too. If you have 1 second all time, you a hater. The second grade, exactly. You a hater. You know what I mean? It's like, but that's definitely a thing. If you don't completely agree with someone and their take, you're definitely a hater, which is definitely weird. But what are you going to do? What do you guys think wins the next game? I mean, you think Jalen Brunson closes it out? You think Halliburton and them show up?
Let me think here. What makes this series so interesting to me is this just shows you the value of role players, which we don't have this on the agenda today. But I do find it funny how people are so quick to shit on this draft. But there's a lot of players in this draft who can be valuable role players, which in an era with a new CBA, you need those types of guys. And sometimes overpaying those guys isn't it, but drafting those guys will be. I just want to quickly note that. But it makes it hard because you saw the Pacers run them out of the gym completely in game 4. Then in game 5, they get ran out the gym, right? So it's like, what Knicks team are we getting? Which I said this before, and I will stand on it. No OG, no Randall, no Mitchell Robinson, no Bojan. I feel like at some point that's going to hurt you. And if Brunson doesn't have a masterclass in these games, how far are the Knicks really going? I feel like this Pacers team offensively, especially at home, like they've shown that they can run at a certain pace. And for them, they're either going to get blown out or they're going to blow you out for the most part. I kind of have the Pacers. I think this goes 7 games. I think I still favor the Knicks to win the series. But I really feel like at some point, not having OG, who is a player that you traded for that you need in this series, not having him is going to hurt. I feel like at some point, Tibbs playing Josh Hart 48 minutes, not just in the playoffs, but to close the regular season into the playoffs, has to factor in at some point. So I'm going with the Pacers, but I do believe for the series, the Knicks winning does not surprise me at all. I would favor the Knicks in the game 7.
And Tom Thibodeau, I got, you know me, Bulls fan for life.
I know you.
I got PTSD.
Hey,
Tom Thibodeau playing
McBride though. The McBride play. Him putting McBride in the starting lineup.
But playing Josh Hart 48 minutes this consistently, man, I get it. He's an ultimate role player, and he wears it like a badge of honor, man. But that boy, the fact that he has not gotten even banged up a little bit yet is a testament to him. Like,
he deserves all his money, Hayes. He deserves it.
Every bit of that money. But listen,
every bit of it.
Let's be clear
here.
Agent,
like, I'm mad. If I'm his agent, I'm having a conversation.
Oh, facts. If I'm his mama, I'm mad.
Facts.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, this. Keep in mind, Tom Thibodeau almost killed Luol Deng. And I don't use that. That's not hyperbole. Luol Deng almost died, literally. You got to watch that a little bit, my guy. That's all I'm saying. But I mean, at this point, like somebody said in the chat, who else you gonna play at this point? You got to do what you got to do to win basketball games. So.
Facts. This time of season, you definitely got to do what you got to do. But you guys mentioned the hater thing. How people think you're a hater. Some guy who I think is getting a lot of hate, unnecessary hate. I mean, him too getting a lot of unnecessary hate. But another guy who's getting a lot of. I mean, hey, look, Kendrick coming up with like number one and number 4 song. That's crazy. But yeah, no, I just think the guy who's getting a lot of hate is my guy, Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, to me, defensively, I mean, we looked at the plays. Shout out Open Gym. We broke down some of the plays on Playback. Make sure to check it on Playback and break down plays. Rudy Gobert defensively has been great. Like there's flash. For the most part, this series, he's been great. Yes, last game, especially in that third quarter, he was getting cooked here and there. But a lot of it is just Jokic making shots. There's only so much you can do as a defender. Look, as a defender, you stay with your guy. You're there. Jokic doing 2-3 moves. You're still contesting. He hits. What are you going to do? And people have this assumption that all these great defensive player of the year is to shut down guys. Go look at Ben Wallace against Shaq in the finals. Even when the Pistons beat him, Shaq was cooking. Shaq was like 28, 10, and 4. Like he was shot amazing, close to 60% shooting. Well, Kobe who had a bad series that game, but it is what it is. And look at even Shaq against Hakeem in the finals. Hakeem outplayed Shaq. Shaq was still 28, 12, and 6. Shaq averaged 6 assists that series. Tibbs gave it 28, over 50% shooting.
Underrated passer.
Yeah, we got to understand that these defensive player of the years, they just you don't lock up great players like that. You don't hold Jokic to 5 points. You know what I mean? You don't do that. Jokic is going to be Jokic against any defender in NBA history. I don't care if it's Hakeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Ben Wallace. He is cooking every single defender in NBA history because that's how his game is. Now, you can make it more difficult for him, but, not maybe let him get to his spots as easily, maybe being even a little bit more physical, but that's against every player. But again, Jokic, I promise you, no defender in NBA history, I think, is holding Jokic to less than, to 15 points a game. That's not a thing. Shooting 30%. That's not going to happen. He is too good. And if you sell out to stop him from scoring, he's going to play, make, and pass because we understand. So if you want to full-on double him, he's going to get you 20 dimes. If you full-on sell and just double him every single play, I promise you he's getting 20 assists a game. Because that's just
I'm going to tell you what makes me tight about this kind of, like, oh my God. I was so mad because listen, I be tired again. I work full time, right? Yeah. So I accidentally passed out. So I missed the last Minnesota game. I woke up in the morning and I watched it and I opened up Twitter. I'm like, let me just see what everyone's saying. And the amount of Gobert slander that I was seeing made me so angry. With 3 hours left, I said, you know what? I'm just make a quick rant video on Rudy Gobert and the defense. Because what frustrates me so much is I said coming into the series, I might have said it here. Didn't I say Gobert should be matched up on Aaron Gordon to take him out the series because Jokic is going to get his and Cat shades on him. And that's the value of having two bigs, right? They went up 2-0 partially because that's what the matchup was. But then Denver adjusted by putting Aaron Gordon in more actions so they would have to force the Rudy switch. And to me, Jokic is just Jokic flat out. If you can take Gobert away from where he is valued to where now you're letting Aaron Gordon roam free, it's going to be a much harder series. And also, I watched the game. Like, I literally went back and watched possession after possession after possession. Jokic was hitting bullshit, but he's Jokic, so Jokic can hit bullshit. I'm sorry. When you're making a turnaround hook off balance and one, what you want me to do with that? Especially when it's heavily contested. I watched the replay. His hand is here, the ball is right here, and he still makes it. He's making contested threes. It's different if Gobert isn't contesting. That's just good work. And guess what? Superstar players give you good work. And the fact that I saw Lakers fans, which this shit made me so mad, bro. Oh my God. The amount of Lakers fans saying Anthony Davis played him better. Did y'all know that Jokic versus Anthony Davis had 59% shooting from the field on 28 a game? The difference is after his last game, Jokic versus Gobert shot 55% from the field on 28. It's the same thing, except in one case, when he was matched up on Anthony Davis, he was much more efficient. Why? Because guess what? Anthony Davis isn't some great matchup big on Jokic. Anthony Davis's best value is to roam. So to me, like, that shit doesn't really make any sense to draw these comparisons. And then you have people that will look at one playoff game and say, that's our DPOY? Yes, because DPOY is based off of the regular season. DPOY is based off of the 82 games. And what makes me so mad is people are so stuck in the moment about Rudy Gobert versus the Denver Nuggets when y'all didn't even have them making it out the first round against the Phoenix Suns, which they swept. The Suns did not get a single game where Gobert was out in space, which is the main criticism. Gobert's great in the paint, but if he has to guard his space, he's bad. But then we saw him switch out on the island with Devin Booker. Booker doesn't want to get to the rim. We saw KD. KD don't want to get to the rim. We saw that in a whole playoff series before. But y'all want to say Rudy Gobert is not the DPOY because Jokic goes off in game 5. Where's the logic?
This is where everybody has the right to their opinion, but some people just need to shut the fuck up and keep it to themselves. I mean, if we're just being honest, like, some people just need to shut up. Like, it's just, I like, at the end of the day, like, we live in such a reactionary society, right? Like for example, somebody would be like, oh, Rudy Gobert was so important to that team's defense all season. One player goes off for 25 points. Why is he DOP? Shut the fuck up. Like, at the end of the day, if y'all don't actually want to watch in and out basketball, if you think winning an award comes down to one game or even one series, then you're a casual. Shut the fuck up. The entire fuck up. Take your opinion, ball it up, shove it up your mama's ass. I don't give a shit. Like, some of y'all just need to shut the fuck up when it comes down to it. Like, at the end of the day, it comes down to Rudy Gobert deserved that DPOY. Now, is he getting cooked at times in this playoff? Absolutely. Yeah. Two things can be true at the same time. Jokic is Jokic. He cooking right now. And it's like he woke up and took it. I took that personally. That's what the Jokic meme needs to be.
Yeah.
He took those first 2 games personally, and he needed to. So
he literally cooked Anthony Davis for the first round, and the year before that, cooked him again. He's cooking Gobert's defense. When in reality, all you have to do is criticize what should be criticized. His offense should be criticized. He cannot post up and do shit as a self-creator in those spots should be criticized. That makes perfect sense in the world. I think the reason why they give Gobert shit is because he's not the offensive player AD is. And they think, well, AD's giving you this. So, but in terms of defense, it makes no sense to criticize his defense when Gobert's value is how he raises the floor. And also, if you take 3 seconds to look at how their defense is when Gobert's on the floor in the playoffs, they're positive. 100%. So clearly he's a good defender. So what
I promise you, you don't want Cat as the primary guy against Jokic without Gobert on the floor.
He fell out the game.
Andre just played fine, but he's not a better defender than Gobert. I mean, people have to stop with that logic too because of a few plays. The AD thing, AD being able to drop 30, on any given night, definitely kind of obviously he's more valuable. He's a way better player than Rudy Gobert. No one's.
That's why he's a better player than Rudy Gobert because he can give you 30.
Exactly. Yeah. Defensively, now, do I think AD did a slightly better job on Jokic? I mean, again, we broke this down on Open Gym a little bit on Playback. He was contesting a little more. He was kind of using his center of gravity to stay in front of him. But don't get me wrong, AD was getting bullied in the paint too. Jokic's weight shouldering him. He was getting what he wanted. You know, they're both right there. Gobert and Anthony Davis. So people got to stop with this Rudy Gobert hate. People got to stop with people thinking DPOYs are supposed to lock down guys and just shut them down. You don't shut down.
Saw Shaq shit all over Mutombo. We seen it. We seen
it. It's not 100%. Every DPOY, and this whole narrative that guys, Dwight Howard did not stop Jokic in 2020. That was not a thing. One, Jokic wasn't as good as a player. I'll give it. That's one. But two, he did not shut him down. They make it a little more difficult, sure, but he did not shut him down. Jokic was still fine that series, still put up, bring up numbers, phenomenal numbers. So that whole narrative has changed too. But speaking of Jokic and Luka too, a lot of noise is being talked about last couple, if we go last week, time travel back, let's say 7, 8, 9 days. Anthony Edwards, SGA, the future of the league. That they was, they were going to take over.
I mean, they're still the future of the league.
They were going to take over. They were driving the bus, of the league. Guess what?
They're driving the bus. Ain't nobody say they was driving no damn bus. Guess nobody say that.
Jalen said that to himself in the mirror, bro. Jalen,
right. I promise you, ain't say that.
Some reporters break their own news. Like, according to my sources, nigga, you the source.
According to my sources, nigga, you said that. That was you. That's a you problem. I never said AD was driving the bus. Fuck no, I didn't say that shit. In the future, maybe, but
I think this needs to be an example of like why knee-jerk reactions. Like, because
take over the league. They were driving the bus. Jokic and Luka said, "Hold up, get to the back. We driving now.
Jalen,
I'm not gonna lie to you. You can't have about that Luka shit though. I'm not gonna.
Do you pre-write promos like this is WWE?
I swear he do.
I swear he do. He got.
I swear he do. I swear he do.
He definitely practiced. He was like, "Hey, babe, hey, let me practice what I'm gonna say on."
The last thing I want to hear from Jalen is hyping up this Luka shit, because bro, respectfully. And this is me as a Luka fan. Respectfully, if you watch the Dallas Mavericks, if you've seen Luka Doncic is this is by far his worst postseason performance. On average, in the playoffs, he's giving you like 30 points per game in these types of series, maybe even 35 at times on like 58% true shooting. This year, that's way down. It's like 51%. And obviously he's hurt. I'm not gonna like all the way shit on him. He's hurt. He's playing through shit. Cool, but he hasn't performed at that standard. So great game last night from Luka, but all the other games where they weren't great games, but they still won. We're not talking about those games either. Like I don't know. I don't want to like overly gas that. Jokic is clearly the best player, which a lot of people said, "Oh, Luka's better than Jokic in the regular season." And I'm like, all right, so y'all.
Luka's not the case though. I think he's been on one knee clearly last game.
I agree.
Yeah, it looked better. So it'll be interesting. Luka versus Jokic, Dallas versus the Mavs. I mean, Dallas versus.
You think the Mavs are going to beat OKC though?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's over with. Next game.
I think this goes 7 games. I'm not going to hold you.
Both those series done in 6. What do you got to say, Hayes?
I mean, the thing is that I think when we did the live stream, the episode when Minnesota was up 2-0 and we were doing our predictions and everybody was like, "Oh, it's over. This is why you can't make knee-jerk reactions. Like you can't, like you have to wait till both teams play both their home games in modern NBA before you can call anything. You just have to like, but as far as like Anthony Edwards and SGA are the future of the league. And sometimes you have to fail before you can succeed. And so, this needs to be a wake-up call for them. I'm not going to call either series yet, but it does look Minnesota seems like they took the best punch from Denver and they like, "Hey man, listen, we just ready to go home and nurse up." As far as the OKC and Dallas, I'm not ready to call that series at all yet. I do think that OKC ain't completely out of it yet, but it is what it is, man.
Yeah. I can't call it. Now, Hayes, I'm the type of guy that I stand on my takes. Yeah. I stand on it. I don't we're right sometimes, we're wrong sometimes. I thought that the Wolves were going to win the Denver series. A lot of it after they went up 2-0 is because We saw
was
Jamal
the way
Murray
they
not
won
moving
those
like
games.
Jamal Murray.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the way that they lost. Like seeing Jamal not give them anything and also him not moving the same. Like it's different if he's not okay, sure. He's not hitting shots, right? Fine. But the way he was moving did not look the same. Post 2-0, he's moving differently. They made the adjustment to get Aaron Gordon more acclimated. And in my opinion, Aaron Gordon has been the MVP in game 3 and 4 to get them back into this series. And now Jokic says, all right,
I am
I'm
worried
back
that
now.
shot is going
Let's
to
go.
suddenly disappear. Like Aaron Gordon is due for a 0 for 5 from
Bro,
3.
he only missed one shot, bro. He had a game where he had like 25, 11, and 7. And it's like he only missed one shot. The one shot he missed was in the fourth quarter when there was 3 minutes left. But for the entire game, he hooping. I'm like, all right, bro. If they're going to shoot the lights off like this with Jokic, who's giving you 40 points, you can't win. You can't. I don't even think the Wolves had the wrong approach in game 5. They just could not make shots, which again goes back to how poor their offense can be sometimes, especially with no Mike Conley. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, Mike Conley definitely hurt. I do, again, if Aaron Gordon has a bad night, Jamal Murray and MPJ have really kind of struggled this series. MPJ has not been able to find this shot. He's not been able to get the space. He's really kind of forcing up shots. You know what I mean? Like it's not usually he's getting his shots when they work the offense right, but he's really trying to force the shot, trying to find it. That's problematic. And Jamal Murray, man, that defense on Jamal Murray is some of the best I've seen in a long time.
They're playing really good defense on him.
On Jamal Murray, it's been lock up. Even the shots he makes are just ridiculously tough shots. So
and Denver deserves a ton of credit too, because again, the other adjustment beyond the Gordon shit and them actually knocking down shots is their defense has looked good. They play good defense.
100%.
They have.
Denver defense has looked solid. Their rotations have been solid. Caldwell Pope, they're all doing their thing. So got to give them credit. But if they're able to, look, I think they're going to win tonight. For them to win 4 straight games after losing your first 2 at home, I don't know if that's ever happened.
Impressive.
Losing your first 2 at home and then winning the next 4. I'm not sure if that's ever happened. Would have to look.
No, that's happened.
That's happened before when they lose.
I saw it with the Bulls. Yeah.
Oh, they did? Oh, when?
Remember when Rondo, I believe they won the first 2 games and then Rondo went down. And then by the way, if Rondo don't go down, I still feel like they might have won that series. I know it's just 2 games, but
it felt like
it felt different.
Playoff Rondo was different.
Losing playoff Rondo is like losing Kyrie Irving. Like, respectfully, losing playoff Rondo like that, it's like losing Kyrie Irving. No, that's how
losing playoff Rondo is like losing playoff Rondo. That's what I'm gonna say. Like they really had a shot to me. Yeah. I believe that.
100%. Yeah. No, that's for sure. Should be a good one. Quick segue side about WNBA. Little opening night.
Bro.
Well, we saw Caitlin Card. Shout out Cameron Brink.
Cameron Brink looked good, man. The defense was there. Nice.
She's nice. She looked good, but she also looked good. That's a beautiful tall glass of milk. Shout out Cameron Brink, bro, doing her thing. Shout out the fashion.
The thirst is real.
Talking about this.
Bro, we talking basketball.
I'm so in love.
I'm thinking about the game. I'm thinking about the defense, the rebounding, the shot making. His ass talking about. I seen the Skims commercial with it. I'm like, all right.
I'm gonna let you do that, Gifted. I'm gonna shout out her.
That is funny as hell.
No, she was doing her thing. What do you have to say about the opening night, Hayes? What do you think about some of the stars?
I mean, listen, the WNBA, and I think if anybody actually watches the WNBA, watches the game, it's one of the most physical leagues that you're going to watch.
Like, shit physical as hell.
Like, they don't play. Did anybody watch that Dallas Wings Chicago Sky game? You can't watch that game and tell me that they are more physical, more consistently than what you'll find in NBA games. And I think that the start of the season so far and what you're seeing is that this league is competitive and it's going to be competitive. And I love it because all the new eyes on the league with Caitlin Clark and the Angel Reese's and stuff coming on, to see that this league is finally starting to get that attention. What they say, 4.5 million viewers for the
and it was game. Locked in, bro.
That's crazy. Yeah. I've seen more people tweeting. As somebody who's literally supported the WNBA for almost a decade straight, I've watched the WNBA consistently. This is the most I've seen public attention on the WNBA ever, and these ladies they deserve it, and it's great to see. As far as like the competition and the games that we're seeing, listen, this level of basketball is great, and I love to see it.
It's been fun to watch. For me, I just love how the culture of WNBA basketball on Twitter is like finally matching what it is for the NBA. Like seeing the memes about Caitlin Clark when she put up 10 turnovers in that stinker.
Mm-hmm.
I love seeing the slander. Like that to me is what makes the sport fun, because outside of just like the game, you know the sport is growing when they're slandering WNBA players to the same level that they would regular NBA players. I love that. I liked the debuts. I will say this. Caitlin Clark struggled, but the way people try to be like, see, I told you,
that's crazy.
It's not gonna be like that. I'm like, bro, she still finished with 20.
Yep.
She still shot over 40% from three. And that was her first game with 10 turnovers. Once she gets adjusted to the speed and the pace, if anything, I think it's crazy that for her first game, struggling the way that she struggled, she still had 20 in a bad game. I think, if anything, you should be on notice that when she figures this shit out,
like I said, it's the tell of two things, because the people that look at that game and like, oh, we told you she's not going to be as good, and then the people who look at it like who looked at her before this game was like, oh, she's going to be the next coming of Jesus in the WNBA. It's like, listen, she's going to have a rookie season. I don't care how great she is. Adjusting to having the level of competition, that much physicality, that many athletic players, it's going to be difficult for anyone. But I got to worry about Irvin. First of all, Irvin says Caitlin Clark is a bad. First of all, if that's what's bad to you, bro, you don't like women. Actually, like I don't.
That's crazy. Whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat.
She's a really good basketball player. I mean, listen, whatever. Hey, what different strokes for different folks is all I can say.
Or no strokes at all.
Hey, whatever type of stroke you into. But
that's why Brandon is so like in the chat. Like he just likes to be. He's not getting no strokes, bro. You got to go out there and find you some coochie, my guy. It's okay, bro. I promise you, man. Like,
shout out Angel Reese. I think she actually had a great first game too. She was hooping, definitely showed her.
Yeah,
a lot of people kind of hating on her.
With Angel Reese, it came like her first half was a struggle, but they also the point guards weren't getting her the ball consistently. But you could see, first of all, she was facing off against three women that were 6'6" and above. That's not common in the WNBA.
Yeah.
But the way that you saw that she adjusted, and then I love in the third quarter, specifically towards the end of that third quarter, once she had a smaller player on her after guarding 6-7 players for most of the game, she started calling for the ball. She started understanding how to use the mismatch. That was really good to see, and I think that was a nice step to show what she's going to be able to be in the WNBA as well.
They're going to be good, man. Like and like I can't speak enough. Like the shit that Cameron Brink did in terms of like both sides of the ball and how poised she looks. I understand that. She didn't have the flashes game where it's not 30, but she looked like she knew how to play basketball. And to me, like that speaks volumes more than anything else. She looked dependable, locked in, and as they get more and more minutes, the better they're gonna get. But for me, my favorite debut out of all these is A'ja Wilson. A'ja said they had me fucked up last year. I didn't get the MVP. I showed y'all who I was in the playoffs. I'm giving you 30. Not this 15, like I'm giving you these buckets. And like you felt her strong MVP case already in that first game. That was great.
Yeah, A'ja Wilson is a monster. She
monster, bro.
Jalen, you're muted, brother.
I was gonna say, no, A'ja definitely let him know that she's the best player in the league. With that, so all these new guys, new girls are in here. Shout out to them, bringing a lot of attention to the league. Asia's like, all right, I'm still her. You know what I mean? Throwing buckets, shout out to her. Hey, Kelsey Plum, winning on and off the court. On and off the court, Kelsey Plum. I don't know.
Is she winning off the court if she got cheated on?
I mean, I just found her outfit.
I'm like, come on, I was just wondering.
I didn't think he was gonna say that. I was gonna say, like, whoa.
Hold on. She might be winning. She might be winning because Darren Waller fumbled, and your boy's right there to pick it up. Holler at your boy, Kelsey Plum. We in the building.
Holler at your boy is crazy.
I might holler at her then. I might have to go in those DMs.
Because you slide in the DMs? Let me know how that goes for you, brother.
I might get that blue check mark or something.
Hey,
Drake, let me
I also just want to quickly make sure to promote the WNBA. If y'all are not tapped in and you want to know where to find it, they have their own app, and they also have a league pass that functions just like NBA league pass. It's way cheaper though. Like it's $35
for the year.
Crazy, bro.
Year. Yeah. Crazy.
Now, allegedly, you know what I'm saying? If you got friends, y'all can come together, you know what I'm saying? Bang that out somehow, some way. If you know, you know. and lock in, because they also have games randomly on Prime. Like right now on my third monitor, they got the Fever versus who is this? I think it's the Fever versus Liberty live on Prime Video right now too. So there's multiple avenues to watch these games. I'm excited because not like after the NBA is over, it's an easy transition for me. I'm locked in on these hoops. So
y'all don't watch baseball?
No, I do not like this sport. That shit mid.
You don't watch baseball, Gift?
No.
Here's the thing. Baseball to me, I could watch it like at times, but baseball is so much better in person than watching on TV.
Yeah, I believe that.
It's so much better of an in person.
I believe that.
That and hockey, I can watch. If I could go live to every hockey game, I'd be at every Blackhawks game. Hockey live is a great sport to watch. On TV, bro, I'll be falling asleep. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
See, like for me, it's hard to watch these sports, but I love playing baseball. I love playing hockey. I just can't stand watching it. I don't know what it is, but like I just cannot stay engaged when I'm watching baseball. But playing it is fun as hell.
Baseball,
like
once you hit 30, it'll change. There's something about that age of 30 that it starts changing for you.
I believe that.
Like, I'm dead serious. Bro.
Yeah,
like with a nice cold beer, just watching baseball, depending on the good matchup. Yeah, but listen, I'm a White Sox fan, so it's been real tough.
I'm a Jays fan, so it's been tough too all year. It's been a rough year.
Then y'all going through it.
Yeah, it happens though. That's baseball.
103 losses, bro.
103 is fucking brutal. I'm not gonna lie.
We on pace for like 95 losses or something. Like,
we're still on pace for 105 this year, bro. That's crazy.
By the way, shout out to baseball because the fact that they can play that many games in the season is fucking ridiculous.
162, yeah,
that is a lot of games to be playing year in year out.
So that's
crazy.
I played growing up. It is one of those games where it's a lot of leisurely time, like you're waiting to go up to bat. You know what I mean? On the field, sometimes I could just be walking on left field if I know where a pitcher's really going at it. Guy's not going to hit it. You know what I mean? So I get it's definitely reasonable in terms of, I
mean, but that means you got to be locked in for like longer.
Yeah, long season, 100%. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
long season, 100% long season. Hey, but that's why some of the baseball deals, Ohtani, 10 years.
They be wild though. Yeah,
right. And still the only sport that somehow doesn't have a salary cap. That players union doing something right. Shout out the baseball players union for keeping those open contracts available. Another quick segue into NBA, not really basketball related, but we saw the TV deals. It looks like NBC won the bid, so NBC on the NBA coming back. So kind of the 90s glory years for ratings. Some people are excited, but it seems that we're going to be losing TNT, Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, Chuck. That combo.
The way that worked out, man, because they could have went over and been on, I believe they could have gone over to NBC. Ernie's never leaving TNT because he covers every sport for TNT.
He's loyal to them, yeah.
Okay, I see.
Shaq would have went over to NBC, but he said he was only going to go if the whole squad went over. And then I think
they're all not going over.
Kenny already has another contract in place with Fox, I think I read somewhere.
In case they lost the NBA.
Yeah,
okay, I see.
It sucks that everybody's kind of going their own separate places, man. Hey,
I feel a way about this because growing up watching basketball, like for the casuals, for like whoever, they provided very fun commentary that made the game just feel fun. Like even if they weren't like stupidly locked in or like not really providing much like careful, deep insight about the game, they made you enjoy every aspect of the game. And it was at the very least entertaining to like a large demo of people. I feel like now if that's gone, whatever replaces that has to be its own thing that has a blend of like it's informative, you can learn, but it's also funny. I feel like losing Shaq and Charles as like entertainers is so hard. Like I don't know how you replace that. I really don't. I think it's something that is literally irreplaceable, and it's been the culture for years. Like I thought that like the progression of it was going to be like Draymond and like some other future players take those slots. Now it's like I don't even know what show NBC will do in the playoffs for like pregame, postgame. What is it now?
They're going to have when NBC lost its deal, I think in the late 90s, early 2000s, people associate the NBA with NBC. That was when like Jordan was winning the titles. It was like at
that theme song is still
the theme song. And they had a show too called NBA. I don't know, it's called like NBA Jam, NBA Super something.
But it's only in some regions. It's not everywhere.
Okay, so some regions, yeah. So,
okay, word.
Apparently, there was a time then too with NBC. People were like, damn, NBA will never be the same. They were gonna miss the shows that were there. And then kind of for our generation, these guys were that. These guys were the show that everyone fell in love with. You know, you mentioned the humor, all that. It was great. But you know, like the saying says, all great things must come to an end. And you know, in some ways, it's like some ways I'm okay with the show leaving out on top when they're still entertaining, because a lot of times with the legacy shows, they stay up for a long time. Even,
and they wait too long, then they're out of touch and whatnot. Right? Yeah.
Whether that's some of our favorite sitcoms, this and that, whatever. Even show like Part of the Interruption. For a generation behind us, it was kind of like Pizza Hut was the show of sports debate. That was like the first really, primary sports debate that everyone got into it. And then we all grew up with Stephen A. Smith and Skip. You know, that was kind of that was big. Those two did their thing, and then new people come around. You know, and then Shannon comes around a little later on. He's kind of he did his thing. Now he's still doing his thing. So new faces will come. Is it sad to see? 100%. Now they still have. So next season will be their last. Like they don't go to NBC. So next season is still in the books with TNT, right? So they're gonna have that whole year. Maybe it's their small song year.
Y'all better appreciate that year, bro.
Yeah, you appreciate it. Throughout that year, look, a lot of things can change. Like obviously NBC has big pockets. I know Shaq says he wouldn't go. Ernie, all them say, but hey, a lot of people say no, but you add an extra zero to that contract.
I feel like if Ernie went, I feel like a lot of them would think about going because they really respect Ernie.
They all would have went over there.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Ernie seems like a guy that maybe not that can't.
All of them rock with Ernie. Ernie to me was always the glue of what they did every single time. Whenever you had Shaq and Charles, even Kenny sometimes. Ernie was always the glue that kept everyone together. So if he's not going on, then the essence of the show just wouldn't be the same. You can't do that show without Ernie to me.
I hear what you're saying. What about just, I guess, a new generation? Like, what if they got like Gilbert Arenas? I'm not saying it is good, but I'm just saying he's a character.
Right.
Out there. He's stupid. Hey, a lot of people said that about Chuck too. Then he became lovable, right? It's
Chuck is not intelligent. Gilbert Arenas is intelligent, but he's a stupid person. There's
he's a troll. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like he is legitimately a troll, and I've watched a lot of his shits live, and it's like he will admit that he's just saying shit because he knows people are going to click, but then he'll also just say some dumb shit that has nothing to stand on, and it's just like not even like an entertaining type of thing. At least with Charles straight up will tell you, I didn't watch this game.
I don't know who that player is. I've never seen that player play in my life. He was a 6th man of the year candidate.
He was literally six man of the year. I don't know his ass. Right. And like it's crazy, right? Because for me, I grew up loving that. But if you start watching the game more and more, it's like, all right, it's kind of embarrassing. You don't know who the fuck Derek White is. Like that right? Like you should be locked in at least who Derek White is. Like he's playing some really good defense. Like that level of misinformation sometimes I think would hurt the overall appeal for me. But it's very sentimental because I grew up with it. So losing it is tough. But as Jalen said, good things have to come to an end. To me, I would just really focus on what are we getting in replacement and the quality of what that is. Me personally, I stopped watching these shits a while ago. I watch the games, then I record, I go live, whatever. So I don't watch it anymore. But for the casual viewer, you want to find something that can be entertaining, but also informative about the sport. A happy blend.
I hear you 100%. Yeah, we'll be sad to see those guys go, but we'll see what NBC does. If they get one of those guys, maybe Chuck does go. I think they'll throw a big bag at Chuck and seems like he's willing to go and to surround him with some guys.
Chuck also strikes me as somebody who you have to have the right balance of people because I can completely see him saying, I don't want to do a show with this dude. I'm out.
Fact. Yeah, he definitely
possible. That's very true. Possible. Yeah.
That's true. And he knows.
Chuck is definitely going to be one of, before he signs his contract, he's going to do that, the typical black person thing. Who all over there? Who all over there?
Who he plays for?
Yeah.
You might get some guys he rocks with contracts. You know what I mean? So that definitely would be interesting to see, though. Shout out TNT for all these years. I mean, what do people watch on TNT anyways? I don't watch TNT except for when those guys are on.
He got like movies,
SVU reruns. A lot of stuff in syndication is over on TNT, and of course AEW.
Yeah.
That's the thing. All right, that'll be interesting. Shout out NBC though. Wonder if do you want to remember that theme song, Hayes?
Huh? Do I want to do what?
That theme song for NBC. Do you need to make something new? I know. Okay.
Will they bring it back? I think they have to. They have to. Like at least for the first one, they gotta bring it back in some version of it. You know what? We're living in everything's coming back. X-Men '97 is amazing. The NBA is going back to
things
NBC.
About that. Yeah.
Like yeah.
Gotcha. I mean,
Halle Berry got a new movie coming out. She's still sexy, by the way.
You got Bad Boys 4 coming out. Is it 4?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, 4. Yeah,
I think it's 4, right? Yeah, 4.
New Beverly Hills Cop coming out on Netflix in a couple of months.
Wow. Yeah.
I think this also means that people are just running out of ideas and just want to reboot or continue legacy things. I think that's also a problem too. You
know what it is? I think in the movie sense, like keep in mind, the strike really affected a lot of companies' pockets. And so if you go to nostalgia, what people already like, you're guaranteed to get a little bit of money first, and then they'll go to the experimental stuff in a little while. So
smart. Now, that definitely makes sense. 100%. Back to the NBA playoffs. I had this good discussion earlier too. Have the Celtics had, or are they going to have one of the easiest paths to the finals we've ever seen when we consider the first round, Miami Heat, no Jimmy Butler. Second round, going against Cleveland Cavaliers, no Jared Allen. Donovan Mitchell missed a couple games. And the next round, they're going up against a Pacers team, like Gitter said earlier, defensively, one of the worst defensive teams. And then the Knicks team with no OG, no Boyan, and, probably a flawed team with Jalen Brunson only creating their offense, with guys hurt there too. Is it, one of the easier runs, if not the easiest run the team has made to the finals?
Is it easier than the Cleveland runs?
So the Cleveland, like what? So like 2018, I'd say no, relative to the team they have. So maybe relative to the team they have. You know what I mean? Yeah. The Plus team is just so good compared to the others. Well, I think some of those Cleveland teams, some years, Kevin Love or Kyrie were hurt. So it's just one of those situations where I think probably 2016 and 17, those 2016 and 17, those runs you could say were easy, but the 2015 and 2018 runs, I don't think, because guys were hurt and missing time.
Yeah, that's fair. They have had comp though. I mean, like, I've been sitting for some time, man. Think about who they've had to play, the injuries to both those teams. Like having no Jimmy Butler on that Heat team, they were dead in the water as soon as they matched it up, right? And then moving on to the next round where they play a Cavs team with no big man. They played the Cavs with no Jared Allen. Like, first off, the Cavs were already a questionable team in terms of their three-point shooting and their defense showing up. So it wasn't really great in the first place, but it's hard to really see many runs that are going to be easier for them. Like we already said as soon as the playoffs started, the Celtics are going to the finals. We try to say, well, maybe the Sixers might. No, like their run in terms of what it actually is probably top 5. I would have to go through year by year to see overall what's the easiest. But we said coming in, the Celtics are going to the finals.
Yeah. So it would be a disappointing season if they didn't. I mean, they're also just that good. But like you said, they have run up against teams that have had major injury flaws to them. The question is, I think the bigger question, whether it's the easiest or not, is that how much of this is going to either help or hurt them in the finals? Are they going to have, because they're all going to be healthy? They've only both their series have gone 5 games so far, where it seems like whoever their opponent is probably going to end up playing about 4 or 5 more games at the minimum more than them by the time they make it to the finals.
Yeah.
So is that going to be something that ends up playing a story there at that point? So
100%. No, definitely agree with that. It will be interesting to see, though. Do you think they'll have, them not facing any real adversity, how that kind of can turn in when they go to Denver, most likely, or Mavs, whatever the case is.
Man, it not be no team to come out the West to me, bro. I'm sorry. Listen, I love Boston. Right? But let me tell you something. If the Wolves dig deep and win this series and go to the finals, that means they will have shown you something in them to where they overcame this hot shooting team for Denver right now. And if they can play at that level, they can probably beat Boston. Although I will say Boston probably has a easier shot at maybe beating them than maybe. Yeah. Only because Denver's offense is just so crazy. And I know for a fact Tatum will not outplay Jokic. For a fact. You can sell me on Tatum being the best player in a playoffs versus the Wolves. I can see that. Also for like the Thunder or the Mavericks, which I just don't think either of them are going to beat whoever those two teams are, even if they pop out and somehow shock the world. They're just not better rosters than Boston. I would still lean Boston. So at that point, it's like we got to see what that looks like. I don't know.
So the only team, I just want to get this clear. From what you later. The only team that you're giving Boston the advantage over if they make out the West to the finals is the Minnesota Timberwolves. No matter which other team comes out the West, you got them over the Boston Celtics. Is that correct?
No, I would say that Boston would have the clear advantage over the Mavericks.
Okay.
And I think they would have the clear advantage over the Thunder. I think both of those teams, because of the size, the lack of like great wing defenders, and also like the counters that Boston has on both ends, will make it tough. I think for the Wolves and also the Nuggets, I think both of those teams can outright beat the Celtics. So I don't think there's a crazy advantage. I just feel like for Tatum specifically, if I told you, okay, the Wolves go to the finals, so does Boston, are we surprised if I say Tatum is the best player in that series? Probably not.
No.
You know? So that's my take on it at the very least.
I agree with that too. I mean, if Porzingis is back, I think he'll definitely. Without Porzingis, I think they get cooked.
That's the problem. He's not even healthy right now, so it's like I don't even know. Like
I haven't even seen an update on.
I don't know.
I haven't seen an update on him until 100%. I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see though. But definitely seems like the champion.
I think all they said about him too was like he might come back for the third round. He definitely couldn't play any game.
The whole second round,
yeah. So we got to see.
Hopefully, he can come back. Them at full strength against a Dallas or Denver would be.
That'd be fun. Yes. 100%. At full strength. Watch. And again, I'm not saying Boston is going to get smoked. I think Boston's a really good team. I just feel like it comes down to the margins, and I feel like versus a team like Denver, the margins in terms of execution matter, and they can't out execute Denver, in my opinion. So, got to see it.
Definitely agree with that take. I agree. Like to see it. Moving on to some off-season stuff, I guess, with the NBA. What do we think of guys like Donovan Mitchell? What place do you guys think would be the best spot for Donovan Mitchell to go to this offseason?
This Donovan Mitchell shit is going to change the league to me, bro. Because I know the Lakers are out there. I think what makes it so tough, Hayes, for me, is the fact that he has a year left. So Donovan Mitchell would have to ask out first off. Like, also, wherever he goes, they would have to like extend him because
extension would have to be part of the deal for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So if we're saying that, I think there's a lot of teams he could go to where he would raise their floor and they would be true contenders, assuming certain pieces don't move with Donovan. And I instantly go to, okay, well, what are the draft assets I'm getting back? What are the players in return I'm getting back? Right? Like, I think if you put Donovan Mitchell on a team like maybe even the Wolves, how dangerous would that be?
Look, Donovan Mitchell on the Wolves, you give Anthony Edwards a secondary scoring option. I mean, that's dangerous team. I don't know if they could afford to keep Cat and Rudy though.
Oh no, Cat would be gone.
Cat would be okay, gotcha. So get rid of
Cat's gone and you get Naz Reid in there.
I like that. You know what? I like that. Donovan Mitchell to the Wolves might be the best spot for them to become. They might be
not gonna happen though.
Not gonna happen though because they don't have the asset. Again, the assets matter so much in this, right? Because if you're losing Donovan Mitchell, remember they traded like 3 unprotected picks, and I think it might be
free agent. Is he free agent?
There. No, he's not. He has 1 year left.
1 year left. Oh, I'm confused. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, he would have to ask for a trade, or the Cavs would have to trade him. But if that's the case, because he only has 1 year left, extension basically has to be guaranteed. Otherwise, you're not getting much in return for trading Donovan Mitchell in the first place.
Hey, D'Lo, Austin Reeves, you might be out of here.
That's if the Lakers learn from this past season. Like they were holding on to those guys so much, but the thing is, like I look at the Donovan Mitchell, the potential Trae Young trade. Those are two teams that whoever misses out on Donovan Mitchell may pivot to Trae Young. I'm not saying that's.
I see that.
But it could be, especially the Lakers, because we know the Lakers are thirsty ass bitches. So it just is what it comes down to with that one. It's just thirsty. Like the Lakers are thirsty.
They see some water. Sometimes they might just want some water.
Bro, the amount of Trae Young photoshops before this Donovan Mitchell shit, bro. Like y'all just be sliding.
First of all, people, shout out to Jersey Swaps on Twitter because he be on it, bro. Like Jersey Swaps on Twitter be on the
be on that shit, bro.
But the Donovan Mitchell trade can really change the whole thing of the offseason. It just depends on, do the Cavs pull that trigger? Because last time the Cavs GM said that they would do anything it takes to re-sign Donovan Mitchell. But how far do you let that go into the offseason to where it's like, all right, Donovan is not re-signing here. We got to get something back.
Exactly. And then also the other problem too is the Cavs aren't sure what's going to happen with his roster because JB might get fired. Mm-hmm. Jared Allen might get traded. And if that happens, also, if Donovan wants to stay, then Garland is gone. So it's like something's happening with the Cavs. I don't know what it is, but something for sure is moving. I don't feel like every piece is coming back to this team next season.
Nobody wants to be in the city of Cleveland. It's one of the worst cities in the country. It's the armpit of the Midwest. It's the armpit of the Midwest, and you just got to get over it. Like they're gonna have to. The thing about Cleveland is they're gonna have to either draft or trade for their stars every single time, and it seems like they're gonna have trouble keeping the players that they drafted. So we'll see what happens with the Cavs, man.
And this might sound out of pocket, but listen, follow me, okay? If I'm the GM for Cleveland, in terms of who I'm drafting, I'm focusing on very talented international prospects because they don't know what the fuck Cleveland is. Right. So they pop up like, you know what? This is fun. Good people, the energy.
Cleveland looks great to somebody who came from Serbia. Is that what you saying?
Listen, yes. I 100% am saying that. And I'm not saying that there's not people in the U.S. who can't fuck with Cleveland. Like, it's possible. We've seen it happen in other markets. But I'm just saying for sure, if you're international, you're more likely to stay in some shitty city because you've never been to America, at least for some of those prospects. I'm not saying every prospect has ever been there, but some of them are just not going to know how shitty Cleveland is. So that's
possible. Yeah.
Interesting to see for sure. What about some of these playoff teams that have off-season plans? If OKC ends up losing this series, any question marks that they bring up? I mean, Jalen Williams obviously
ain't no goddamn question mark for them. Not a single question mark for them.
Just going to continue.
You made it out the first round. You lose in 6 games to a Mavs team where PJ gave you 27 twice with some fake shooting. I'm okay. I have a young core. I don't have to really overreact. The one thing that they got to do, for the love of God, is use either a draft pick, make a trade, get a backup big, and then get some more wings if you can. But that's really it. They don't have to panic at all. They've done what we thought they would do. They didn't get swept in the first round. They made it to the second round. Shoot, if they force a game 7 and somehow go to the conference finals, first year you make the playoffs, you're in the conference finals, that's big for them. So to me, they're already ahead of schedule. I would not overreact with that team at all, especially with all the assets they have. Like, you have so many assets, there's nothing to be scared of. You can get whoever you want, really. The only thing you need at that point is salary.
Yeah, if it just came to all things, even as far as offering the best deal, no, if the OKC Thunder wanted anybody, they can get them. Period.
That's what I'm saying. Which is why, by the way, that's why early on this show, before the playoffs, what was I saying? I was saying I really wish OKC, and I don't know the details, right? But I really wish OKC traded for Lauri Markkanen. You had the assets, and I'm telling you right now, having Lauri Markkanen on this team with the size, the length, and the shooting would pay you big dividends, bro. Like imagine saying, fuck Josh Giddey, we put Lauri Markkanen there. Like, what? But, hey.
Giddey might be out of there though. Giddey for sure might be out of there.
Who cares?
Giddey can't go to Utah. They can't have Karl Malone and Josh Giddey both part of their franchise.
But it's on brand though. But it is on brand. You can't say it's not on brand though. It's definitely on brand. Is it not? Like I
say, Karl Malone's still a legend out there. He's still celebrated.
They need someone to get 15.
Hey,
shit.
That just happens to also be the age of the girls he likes. So you take that for what you want.
Ain't no coincidence. I meant that. Like I'm just saying. Like
innocent.
Yeah,
it'd be like that. It'd be like that. Oh no, that's for sure. Definitely agree. You don't blow up a team like that. They're gonna make moves for sure, without a doubt. What about any other teams? Whether that's Denver look good, but obviously this team definitely has a little more flaws, especially their bench, than last season's championship team. So do you think if they win, let's say they win a championship this season, is it almost like so great team, did they get away with one in a sense where they're able to win with the flawed team because of, I don't know, the greatness of Jokic, Murray steps up, Aaron Gordon, whatever the case is. do you expect him to really improve that bench? We'll start with you, Hayes, this one.
I want to say yes. I want to, but I don't know if I trust it. Like, the thing is, like, with Denver, you got Michael Porter Jr. averaging 12 points. 12.
Yep.
12 points. You need better than that. Way better.
100%.
So.
All of his shooting came in the first round. First, the Lakers
drafted
like 24.
Dude shot,
That's where all his shit went.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then suddenly forgets how to shoot. What are you gonna do? It seems like guys just step up against the Lakers. But,
I just feel like the Nuggets, like, you have to find a way to tangibly improve beyond player development because teams get better every single year. Also, if you're injured next year, like, you need to have something in place. I think Denver is smart enough to try to make a move. I just don't know what it is. And honestly, I don't care too much about the teams at the top. I really got to know what Atlanta is going to do. They have the first pick in a draft that has no, like, clear-cut, like, star player. That means whoever is drafting got to be, like, with the shit. Like, I know he might not look like he going to be shit, but I'm going to make this broke bitch great. Like, I'm going to bring him money, right? Like, you got to get that going. And to me, that takes, like, a actual eye and awareness for who you're drafting. A lot of people don't want to do that. That's why they're saying this is such a weak draft, because you really have to look into these players, like, fully. Yeah.
There's no surefire lock to be a star like some of these other drafts. So you're going to take a risk on a guy like Topic, on a guy like Sar.
Something like that.
Zachary Rashare. Definitely one of those drafts. But
De Silva. Have y'all watched De Silva's tape? Yeah,
I have not.
Man, listen,
no.
He's gonna be the Hami Jaquez coming out of this draft. Watch
really?
What I tell you. If he goes to the right team with the right situation and a coach that trusts him, De Silva, go look and watch his tape.
I'm look up his footage.
Yeah.
Word. Okay.
What player could the Hawks even get by trading that first pick?
They need to keep the pick and they need to trade.
Okay.
They need to keep the pick.
I mean, you either keep it or you package it to get a very good player, but I don't know what that looks like for them regardless.
I would say package it with Trae Young?
Bro, if you trade
pick and Trae, you're trading the number one pick and Trae Young.
You better get Victor.
Exactly.
I don't know who.
That's what I'm saying.
Trae Young is a flawed player as hell, right? Like, you know what he can bring as far as facilitating, but like defensively, you got to have a very Trae Young. If he goes to a team that is willing to build the right pieces around, commit to the right pieces around him as far as like defenders that could drive, that could lob threats, things like that.
Yeah,
great. But like it's a very specific. If you want to maximize on the ceiling of a team with Trae Young as the best player, you got to build that team very, very specifically.
Do you think a Minnesota with Cat for Trae, would that make sense to you?
A Cat for Trae.
Now they lose out on defense, sure, but now you have Mike Conley as your backup point guard, and now you have Trae.
Why would Atlanta do that? Why would Atlanta do that? That seems like a kind of a.
And see, that's the problem.
You're pairing DeJounte and Towns, Cat,
which kind of makes sense because now he has a big that can shoot the ball, who can put the ball on the floor more.
I think about more than Towns though. Towns and they'd have to throw like a Jaden McDaniels.
Oh fuck no!
they got to throw in somebody.
And Jaden, no shot.
Yeah, they probably got to throw in somebody. But I do think Trae would be interesting there. But they probably want to keep McDaniels just for their defense.
Yeah,
Trae as a defender would regress. Yeah. But it would be interesting to see. We are at our limit though. Chat 7:30 is here. Great episode. Yep. Another episode of From the Logo. Big game tonight. Make sure to tune into Playback. I believe Chilltown is there. Go check that out. Go watch the game.
Yeah, go tap in.
100%. Go watch another Jokic Masterclass. And guess what, baby? It's payday. All those bets that we made with Denver, send them my way. You know who you are. Shout out Early. Shout out Big Ox. You know my PayPal. When the Nuggets win, make sure to send it.
You know my PayPal.
PayPal is crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great Friday night tomorrow, baby. Send them in ones. You know what I'm saying? Send them in.
Did they know the PayPal when you picked the Lakers over the Nuggets?
I didn't bet that one though. We don't bet that one.
Remember when Jalen said the Lakers had the Nuggets figured out?
I do remember that. And yeah, he still wasn't betting because he knew that was bullshit. But we'll let it go.
I bet with my brain. Sometimes you speak with the heart. And other than that, that's how we got to work, baby. We make that $1,000 ticket, shout out ticket. on the Wemby bet. Now we're going to make, about 700, 600 off of this. Life's good, baby. Life's good. Make the smart bets. Tune in next time. We're going to be here on Sunday. Make sure to tap in with my boy.
On Playback.
Plays. Yeah, on Playback. We're going to be on Playback. Might break down a couple plays. We're going to celebrate the victories of Jokic and Luka. Make sure to tap in. Until then, see you soon, chat. See you soon.
Peace. Have a good one, people.